Hey, this is Writers Row. I'm DC Wright-Hammer, and this episode is going to be a little different. On this episode, I'm going to tell you 5 things that writers should stop doing on social media this very second. We'll get into all the details and all of that. Before we do that, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to get content about writing community, writing, and life in general as a writer. And also give this video a thumbs up. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm and it gives me more confidence to make more content. And coming in at number 1 on my list of 5 things that writers should stop doing is spamming your books. I think we can all agree that too many book advertisements, too much of just shoving our books out there at people is not fun for anybody on Twitter, not to mention it's not very effective at advertising. And so my rule is keep it to a few times a week and get creative with it. Don't just copy and paste that same book blurb and everything. Make it a little different. Sometimes get your cover front and center, get that in front of people's faces. Other times, maybe use an alternate image of some kind and use a different blurb or something else to catch people's eye. It makes it less spammy and it's much more effective at advertising. And speaking about advertising, make sure to be strategic when you're running ads, when you are actually advertising your book. Don't do it in a very mechanical way. Think about the audience, the people you're trying to reach the ad with, the readers you're trying to reach the ad with, and try to balance it with everything else that you're doing and just kind of keep the spamming of your book under control. That doesn't make for a great writing community experience, and again, for most people it's not very effective. Second thing that I want you to stop doing on social media is comparing yourself to other writers. Now this is like all of social media, right? Everybody puts their best foot forward, everybody looks like they're super successful, and in the end we start comparing ourselves to other people, and a lot of times we feel bad. If we think someone is super successful and we don't feel like we're as successful, it doesn't feel great. Sort of not necessarily by nature, but that's kind of something we've done in the social media era. And as writers, that really gets us nowhere. We're all on our own different writing journey at different places, and to compare yourself to another writer doesn't help you, it doesn't help them. And in fact, if you see somebody who you see as successful and who's actually doing some things in either writing community or you're seeing them with other bits of success that they're talking about, why don't you pull them aside, maybe send them a DM if they're okay with that, and just ask them, hey, what are some of the things that you've done to put yourself in that position, and see if you can learn something. And between the two of you, maybe you guys can actually help each other out. And instead of just comparing, you really kind of build that sense of community that we always talk about, and then you actually do make yourself better off as a result. It doesn't mean that they're better than you, and that whole comparison is going to leave everybody feeling bad. So, like I said, do not compare yourself to other writers. Number 3 on the list, do not unfollow people after they follow you back. Now this isn't something that's specific to writing community, but it is something that is part of Twitter, and I have seen it in writing community where somebody will go and follow hundreds of thousands of people. They're just following as many people as they can, and as soon as they get a follow back from a person, they might wait a minute, they might wait an hour, whatever it is, they go in and they unfollow that person. And the whole point of it is to look like you've got a lot of followers and you're not following that many people. And that, I guess, makes people perceive you as popular or something like that. But just so you know, as that happens, you start to build this reputation for being dishonest, for not being somebody who is trying to build a community, but instead you're just trying to build your own brand, your own self. And people that have really skewed follower numbers have their own set of concerns and perceptions that come along with that. And so it's inherently dishonest and builds distrust in the community when you start to unfollow people after you get followed back. There are legitimate ways to build followers. Full disclosure, I'm at something like 19,000 followers right now, and I tend to follow as many writers as seem legitimate, and I follow back. Sometimes if I see somebody who's been commenting cool things, I will go ahead and just follow them outright. I don't do that as much. I don't have the capacity to follow in waves. But the only time I ever unfollow people is if I notice that they've unfollowed me, and if it's somebody that I've engaged with and like, I usually will send them a message saying, hey, sorry to see you go. I hope it was an accident. If not, I wish you the best. People can use social media how they want to. They can follow and unfollow as they please, but again, you develop a perception, you develop, people do get to judge you. That's the other side of social media, that people get to judge you on the way you use social media as well. Number 4 on my list is stop trying to be someone that you are not on social media. Authenticity is key. It's not only key for people to understand who you are as a person, but it makes your life on social media that much easier to maintain because you're just being you. Don't feel pressured to post on certain topics. Don't feel pressured to post a certain amount each day or week or whatever, or hit certain numbers. If you have some goals for yourself that you want to hit, that's fine. But don't let that be dictated by what other people are doing. Be who you are. Don't try to be somebody else. And the last thing I'll say on this is it's okay to not be witty. I think a lot of people walk around in their day and they try to think in Twitter witty terms like, oh, that'll be a cool tweet. That's 280 characters where people are going to really think that's super witty and they're going to like and retweet and all this stuff. If you're witty, great. You don't have to force that. If that's not who you are, if you really like cat pictures or something else, be yourself and let the cards fall where they may. In the end, you're going to be happier on social media. It's going to be a better tool for you. And the people that interact with you are going to get more out of it because they know who you are and they can count on that. Last but not least, number 5 on my list is stop being a Debbie Downer. What I mean by that is just because motivational posts and happy thoughts and tweets and things that come out don't resonate with you, they resonate with others. And somebody could be having a bad day, and yeah, I know they see a tweet. That doesn't turn us all around. That doesn't make us all happy and get the endorphins and other happy chemicals flowing through our brain. But for some people, that does work. And for you to come in and rain on their parade or put out a tweet that's just trying to knock people down, that's not helpful. If you don't have something nice to say about others, you need to get off of Twitter and go write that in your books, okay? That's where you need to get that outlet from. On Twitter, you don't have to be witty, like I said in number 4. And number 5, being a downer is just, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's going to create distrust in the community. It's just going to kind of, make people feel bad. So, I mean, if that's your goal, okay, you're going to get what you put out there. But just, let some of that positive stuff and the happy stuff that's out there kind of go, in one feed and out the other for you. And in general, just try to be a positive member of the community. And that'll do it for this episode. Let me know if I missed something you think writers should stop doing right now on social media. Anything that I might have missed, overlooked, or something that you think should be just added to the list. Let me know what you thought of this episode and the format. I like to do things like this in the future, so if you liked it, that's great. Again, if you haven't subscribed already to the channel, make sure to do that, and I will catch you next time on Writer's Row. Thank you.